Good day, viewers all over the world. I welcome you to today's class on coordinate geometry part 1. We shall be looking at this sensitive topic for those who are beginners in sciences and engineering and different parts of architecture. This topic cuts across so many fields, especially for beginners in 100 level in engineering and sciences. Beloved, my name is Dr. Chris Isekaibe. I am the owner of this YouTube channel. The essence of this YouTube channel is to share knowledge across the globe. We share knowledge in key areas in mathematics and statistics, and also I am a specialist in numerical analysis, data analysis and modeling, and statistical analysis. I hold a doctorate degree in mathematics with distinction, a master's degree in mathematics, and a bachelor degree in statistics. I am a chief lecturer in one of the most prestigious polytechnics in Nigeria. I'm also a member of the academic board of that polytechnic. I also train AI models. I've been privileged to work with 2 firms, AI firms in the United States of America, where I assisted in training AI models as an annotator. And also what we do is to create prompts and break the model and ensure that then you now create steps. There is a chain of thoughts to train the models accordingly. And if you are an AI firm, you can consult me to be part of your mathematicians or statisticians training your models. And also, if you are a research institute, you can also contact me to be part of your research. My contacts are +234 80 330 21903. This first contact is for call and WhatsApp. Then my second contact is +234 70 66 29 35. This second contact is for call only. It is not for WhatsApp. Then of course my email is same below, chrisdavids2015@gmail.com. I'll be expecting to hear from you so that we can be part of what you are doing. So for those of you who have subscribed to this channel, I want to really thank you. I want to appreciate you. God will bless you and increase you on every side. For those of you who are yet to subscribe and you have been benefiting from the channel, please subscribe, share the videos in your social media platforms, and be part of those sharing knowledge across the globe. As you do it, God will bless you richly. So it is time to go to the business of the day. Coordinate geometry. Permit me to clear this part of the board so that we can have enough space. Please follow me patiently to the end of the video and see what coordinate geometry, the introductory part of it, what it looks like. Now, coordinate geometry has to do with the study of geometry by means of the method of algebra. It is the study of geometry by means of the method of algebra. That is what coordinate geometry is. It studies geometry by means of the method of algebra. It deals with points and lines joining them. It deals this with points and lines joining them. That is what it does. So it also entails the determination of lines and curves by means of equations. You know, I give an example. If you have, for instance, like those of us who have little understanding or background in graph theory. This is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. There are certain points, you see, maybe this is 1, maybe this is 2, this is 3, this is 2, this is 4, this is 6, and again you have a point here. At this point, you can call this point A. Point A is having 1 from the x-axis and 2 from the y-axis. Then this point also, you can call this one point B. This one having from the x-axis, because the point is always given as x comma y. This is the x coordinate and this is the y coordinate, and this point B, that's why the value that comes first is from the x axis, and that is 3 for this particular point B, and from the y axis is 4, and so on and so forth. So from graph theory, elementary graph theory that we did in high school, be able to understand this. So every graph has 2 axes, like it has been told, the x axis and the y axis. So it is good we have this fundamental understanding before we go into coordinate geometry proper. So it has 2 fixed reference lines called the x-axis and the y-axis. So these are the 2 reference lines. Sometimes it cuts across the negative part. This is the origin. So the value that comes below the origin from the x-axis are negative, and the values that come from the y-axis below the origin are also negative. So here you can have -1, here you can have -2, here you can have, since it's, the units in y they are 2, here you can have -2, and here you have -4, and so on and so forth. So this is how it goes across. So when it goes below the origin from the x and y axis, you begin to experience negative values. Now, it is also good you have this understanding that the point P, the position of any point P in a place is determined by its coordinates, which is the perpendicular distance of P from the x-axis and the perpendicular distance of P from the y-axis. So you can see that, like this point A now, the distance from the x-axis, you can see it is 1, then the distance from the y-axis, they come and meet at a point. Now you can see between A and B, this is point B and this is point A, we can draw a straight line and begin to measure the distance between the 2 points A and B, and we can also begin to measure the midpoint. If, for instance, this is, you can see here is B, here is A, then we can begin to measure the distance between A and B, and we can also measure the midpoint between A and B. So it involves a lot of algebra, and it also deals with point, lines, and lines joining this point, and we can also come across the calculation of angles between 2 lines and the rest of them. So this is what coordinate geometry foundation has to do. So you need to have this basic understanding, and you can see that the coordinates, we have the x and y coordinates. So the x coordinate is called abscissa, while the y coordinate is called ordinate. So it's good we have better understanding of it. So like for here, for point A, 1 is the coordinate for x and is called the abscissa, while 2 is the coordinate for y and it is called the ordinate. So this one is called the abscissa, while this one is called the ordinate. It's good we have this simple understanding of graph theory. Also, permit me to clean this as I explain further. if I give you certain points and I say sketch the point, sketch the point, sketch the point, sketch the point. Now, these are the points. For instance, if I say sketch a into 4 comma minus 3 and b into minus 2 comma 4, sketch this point in any given graph. You can just come and just draw something like this. Of course, it's having the x-axis, the origin, the y-axis. So this is our x-axis, this is our y-axis, then the origin. I told you when the y-axis comes down below the origin, you have negative value. When it goes leftward from the x-axis below the origin, you begin to have negative values. So you can begin to give maybe points, like if here is 2, here is 4, and here is 2, here is 4. Of course, here you have your minus 2, here you have your minus 4, here you have your minus 2, here you have your minus 4. Now you want to sketch. Look at this first point, point A. The abscissa, which is the value of x, the x coordinate is 4. So you start from here, which is 4, you drag it down, minus 3 is at the middle of minus 2 and minus 4. So you drag it, trace it down like that, so you can now draw it fully. So you now have A to be 4 comma minus 3. So the value of y is minus 3, so it goes below the origin. Then the second point is minus 2. That means x is minus 2 and y is 4. So you trace from minus 2, you come up like this. You trace from minus 2, you can trace it down. Then from 4, you come like this. So you have it, you can see. Now you have point B. B is minus 2 comma 4. So that is how you can begin to trace or sketch points in a given graph. So you should understand that when you want to get the point for A, which is having abscissa 4 and ordinate minus 3, so it means that where the perpendicular line drawn from x is equals to 4 meets the perpendicular line from y equals to 3. Likewise, this one, the perpendicular line from when x equals to minus 2 meets the perpendicular line when y equals to 4. So you need to understand this point. So this is how to sketch points in a graph. Now, it is time for us to move forward and study the distance between 2 points. The distance between 2 points. Distance between 2 points is very important. We study that in a particular graph. Distance between 2 points. Distance between 2 points. Now it goes like this. I'm going to use a diagram to explain this. For instance, if I have a diagram as this, of course, this is the x-axis and this is my y-axis. I have, okay, let me extend it a little. My x-axis, I have here my x1, I have here my x2, I have here my y1, and I have here my y2. These are points on the x-axis and the y-axis. Now, if I want to get a particular point here, for instance, from here to here, I can call this point, point A. This is the particular point here. A will now be the x value will be x1, the y value will be y1. Then of course, if I want to get another point from this place, like this, there will be another point. Another point will be, let me call that point B. This will be x2 and y2, x2, y2. That's another point. Now I will draw a straight line to meet this particular place. You should understand that between this point here, you have this particular distance between x1 and x2 can be written as x2 minus x1. Then, of course, definitely, you can draw a straight line here. And of course, this one can now be called y2 minus y1. Of course, which is the same thing as here, y2 minus y1. Of course, from this point to this point is equal to from this point to this point. So this point is also this line will also be called x2 minus x1. So now there is a distance between A and B. Can you see it? Then here now we are beginning to form a triangle. Here will become a right angle. So there is a distance. This is point A. This is point A, and this is point B. So there is a distance between point A and point B. You can also call this particular point point C. And what are the values for point C? You can see now this point comes here to this place, so it will be x2. Point C, this point C will be x2 and y1. x2, y1. So you have it like that. So we have formed a triangle. Let me draw out the triangle from that particular graph. You can see here is a right angle. Here is now our A. Here is now our B. And here is our C. You can see now we have been able to bring out the here is now y2 minus y1, and this particular place is x2 minus x1. So you can see how we have been able. Now the distance AB is what we want to calculate. From there, we will be able to derive a formula to calculate the distance between 2 points in the coordinate geometry. So if I come here now, from here, of course, you know, if this is a right angle triangle, of course, we can apply the Pythagoras theorem. This will now be the hypotenuse. AB will now be the hypotenuse. So the law will now say that by Pythagoras theorem, so we'll have our AB squared equals, of course, we can start from this one, x2 minus x1 all squared plus y2 minus y1 all squared. So that is what the Pythagoras theorem says from this triangle that was brought out from this particular graph. So it simply means that the distance AB, or you can simply call it distance D, will now be equal to the square roots of x2 minus x1 all squared plus y2 minus y1 all squared. So this will now be the formula for calculating the distance between 2 points in coordinate geometry. So that will now be the formula for calculating that. Now, for instance, if I say find the distance between the points, find the distance between the points 0, 0 and 0, 0 and -6, -5, -6, -5. So you have to find the distance. So it is as simple as ABCD using this formula. All you just need to do is to know the value for x2 and x1. So you now call, you say let x1 y1 equals the first point, which is 0, 0. So this implies that This implies that x1 is equal to 0, y1 is equal to 0. Then also, minus 6, comma, minus 5 will now be x2. Let this be equal to x2, comma, y2. So this implies that from here, our x2 will be equal to minus 6 and our y2 will be equal to minus 5. You now come and put these values into the distance formula. So our d will now be equal to, of course, what is our x2? Our x2 is minus 6. Then of course, minus, what is our x1? Our x1 is 0. Then you put the square. Then plus, what is our y2? Our y2 is minus 5. Then minus sign is there. What is our y1? Our y1 is 0. So then you put your square root. So this will be equal to minus 6 minus 0 will be minus 6. Minus 6 squared will be 36 plus minus 5 minus 0 will be minus 5. Of course, there's a square here. There's a square there. Then minus 5 square will be 25 plus 25. Then you put your square root. Then when you now take that value, you're going to have 36 plus 25 will be 61. You're going to have root 61. You can stop at that particular value. So you can see how we can calculate the distance of the distance between 2 points. A straight line, the distance of a line that is joining 2 points. So that is how we can pick another example. Permit me to clean this part of the board. Also find the distance. Permit me to clean this part. Find the distance. Find the distance between. Find the distance between 5,2 and minus 4,8. So these are 2 points. Of course, the abscissa, the ordinate, the abscissa, the ordinate, the x coordinate, the y coordinate. So if you want to get this solution, it is as simple as ABCD. What you just need to do, you just say solution. Now you say let x1, y1 equals 5, 2. So this means that our x1 is equal to 5, our y1 is equal to 2. Also let x2, y2 equals minus 4, 8. This simply means that our x2 is equal to minus 4 and our y2 is equal to 8. So that is what it means. So getting the distance using the distance formula, it makes it very, very easy. So from there, you come and make use of the distance formula, which is d is equal to, of course, what is our x2? Our x2 is minus 4. Then minus, what is our x1? Our x1 is 5. Minus 4 minus 5. Then you cover and square. Then plus, what is our y2? Our y2 is 8. Minus, what is our y1? Our y1 is 2. Then you square. Then of course, don't forget to put the square root. So our d, distance will now be minus 4 minus 5 will be minus 4. So our x2 is minus 4 minus 5 will now be minus 9. Minus 9 square will be 81 plus 8 minus 2 is 6. 6 square is 36 plus 36 then you take the square root, then of course 81 plus 36 is 117, so you're going to have root 117. It's good. It's better you put the answer in surd. We are leaving our answers in surd, so you can see how we have been able to do this. Right now, let's take one more example. Permit me to clean this particular problem, and this particular, I will leave that formula. Permit me to clean this. That formula will be left because it will be of importance to us as we solve the next problem. Now the problem says the point. This is another example. The point Q into S comma Y comma A into minus 2 minus 3 and B into 2 comma 3 are such that QA equals QB, then show that 8x plus 12y equals 0, meaning QA squared equals QB squared. So let's look at the solution. It's as simple as ABCD. Now, taking this forward, you must understand that the first thing we need to do is to get QA. So for QA, we are using, what is our Q? We are using Q into X comma Y and A into minus 2 comma minus 3. So we are using this. Now we'll get the distance between Q and A. So from here, let this be this. If we have Q into X comma Y, let this be equal to, okay, let's remove the Q. Let this be equal X1 comma Y1. So then also this other point minus 2 minus 3 will also be X2 comma Y2, because these are the things we need. So from here, this implies that our X is equal to X1, our Y is equal to Y1, and also here our X2 equals minus 2 and our Y2 equals minus 3. So now the distance QA will now be equal to, what is our X2? Our X2 is minus 2. It will be minus 2 minus, what is our X1? Our X1 is X. Then you square plus, what is our Y2? Our Y2 is minus 3 minus, what is our Y1? Our Y1 is Y. Then you square, then you come and take the square root. So that is what we are going to get for our QA. Now also, let us get our QB. For our QB, we are going to use Q into X comma Y and B into, what is the value for B? Our B is 2 comma 3. That's what we are going to have. Then at the end of the day, we are going to get the distance for QB. Our QB will be equal to, that means from here, this is X1, Y1, X2, Y2. So our X1 equals X, our Y1 equals Y, our x2 equals 2, our y2 equals 3 from what we have there. So we come here and put them together. What is our x2? Our x2 is 2 minus, what is our x1? Our x1 is x all squared plus, what is our y2? Our y2 is 3 minus, what is our y1? Our y1 is y, then all squared. Then of course you take the square root. That is what you are going to have. Now it means that for QA to be equal to QB, then we must have this equals that. So this simply means that we have square root of minus 2 minus x all squared plus minus 3 minus y all squared will now be equal to this our QA. This is what we have here for QA, minus 2 minus x all squared plus minus 3 minus y all squared. Then of course our QB will be 2 minus x all squared plus 3 minus y all squared on, of course, square root. So the square root will cancel. This will cancel this. Then we are going to have minus 2 minus x all squared plus minus 3 minus y all squared is equal to 2 minus x all squared plus 3 minus y all squared. So you have that. So now, permit me, we can now open the brackets and begin to have values. If I open this bracket, I'm going to have 4 plus 4x plus x squared. If I open this bracket, I'm going to have plus 9 plus 6y plus y squared. Let me put the equation sign there. Then from there, if I open this bracket, I'm going to have 4 minus 4x plus x squared. If I open this bracket, I'm going to have 9 minus 6y plus y squared. That is what we are going to have by expansion. 9. So we already have that. So at the end of it, we can now begin to collect like terms and see, permit me to claim this particular part of the board so that we can extend our solution to this particular part, so that we can extend our solution. So having this, you will see that from there we are taking like terms now. We are bringing everything and making the right hand side to be 0. So taking like terms, you are going to have x squared. When this one crosses, will be minus x squared, then plus 4x. When the other x comes to that side, it will be plus 4x. Then you have plus y squared minus y squared. When the other y squared crosses, it goes like that. Then plus 6y. Then when this minus 6y, when it crosses the other side, it becomes plus 6y. Then of course we have plus 4. When this 4 goes to the other side, it becomes minus 4. Then we have plus 9. Plus 9. When this 9 also goes to the other side, it also becomes minus 9. And that will be equal to 0. So you will see that every other thing we cut off. We now have 4x plus 4x. We have 8x plus, of course, this we cancel, this we cancel, this we cancel, this we cancel. You now have 6y plus 6y will be 12y. Then of course equal to 0 as desired. So you can see that these things are quite easy to explain. They are quite easy to explain. I hope you are following. Please, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, subscribe, and as you do, God will bless you. So we have been able to look at the distance between 2 points, and we have solved several examples. Now we want to go to another subtopic, the midpoint of a line joining 2 points. Permit me to clean the board completely. The midpoint of a line joining 2 points. That is, every point has the x value, which is called the abscissa, and the y value, which is called the ordinate. It is as important as that. Now, let me use this as an example. If, for instance, I have a straight line as this. This is A and this is B. There is a middle point between A and B. You can call this one C. A is having its own x, y, the ordinate. B is also having its own ordinate. Of course, C will also have its own ordinates, and so on and so forth. It will have its own coordinates. A is having its own coordinate, B is having its own coordinate, then the midpoint between A and B will also, so every point has coordinates. The x coordinate, which is called the abscissa, and the y coordinate, which is called the ordinate. Now we want to look at the midpoint of a line. Midpoint of a line joining 2 points. That is what we want to look at now. The midpoint of a line joining 2 points. We will see that doing this is very, very interesting. Now, this is given, permit me to clean this, I just use that for illustration. Now, the coordinates of the midpoint, the coordinates of the midpoint are, it is simply described as, of course, it will be a point x, y. This will now be equal to x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 all over 2. Then you cover the bracket. It's as simple as that. Now, if we are to take example, say, find the coordinates of the midpoint. Find the coordinates of the midpoint. The coordinate of the midpoint of the line. Midpoint of the line joining this point. Roman figure 1, let's take it as we have 6, 7 and 4, 3. Then Roman figure 2, we have 5, 8 and 6, minus 9. Now we want to use this particular formula to get that. It is as simple as possible. Now the solution. Now if you are dealing with the first one, of course you will take this as the first point and this as the second point. From here, you see your x1 is equal to 6, your y1 is equal to 7, then your x2 is equal to 4, then your y2 is equal to 3. We are looking at this first problem. So coming here now, our x, y, which is the midpoint of the line joining these 2 points, 6, 7 and 4, 3, will now be equal to, what is our x1? Our x1 is 6, plus what is our x2? 4 all over 2, what is our y1? Our y1 is 7, plus what is our y2? Our y2 is 3 all over 2, as given by the formula. So this will now be x, y will be equal to 6 plus 4 is 10 all over 2, 7 plus 3 is 10 all over 2, and that will now be 5, 5. So that will now be the midpoint, the coordinates of the midpoint. So the x coordinate is 5 and the y coordinate is 5. It is as simple as that. Now let me share this board. Now for the Roman figure 2, which is this one, it simply means that from here this will be the first point, this will be the second point. So our x1 will be equal to 5, our y1 will be equal to 8. Here our x2 will be equal to 6, our y2 equal to minus 9. So coming here, we now have our x, y will now be equal to x1 plus x2. x1 is 5 plus x2 is 6 all over 2. Then you put your comma sign. Then your y1 is 8, of course, plus y, so the minus will dominate. You have minus 9 all over 2. So this will be 11 all over 2 minus 1 all over 2. 8 minus 9 is minus 1. That will now be. So you now have the midpoint will now be x, y will now be equal to 11 all over 2, minus 1 all over 2. So you can leave your answer in fraction. It's better you leave your answer in fraction when you are dealing with this midpoint. And also when you are dealing with distance, it's good you leave your answer in surd. It's good you leave your answer in surd. So this is how to calculate the midpoint of a line joining 2 points. Now, permit me to let's go to another subtopic. We have a whole lot to cover because coordinate geometry, the introductory part of it is very important. It's good we touch every key area in this part 1. We of course will be coming with part 2 in the next video, but let's cover as much as possible to build a solid foundation. So please, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification button so that anytime I upload a video, you will be among those that will get the notification. Share my videos in your social media platform and be part of those sharing knowledge. And for those of you who have subscribed, I'm very grateful. Thank you and God bless you. Now let us continue with the class. We are looking at division of a line in a given ratio. Division of a line in a given ratio. Now what does this mean? If I have a line as this, I will always illustrate, and this is B. Now we are not sharing the line into 2 equal parts, getting the midpoint. The midpoint simply means sharing the line into equal parts. Now you can share the line into, you can see from A to B is having ratio 1, and then you can call this point C. Then from C to B is having ratio 2. So you can share it in ratio 1 to 2. That means you are not sharing the particular line equally. That is what it means. The line is not being shared equally. So now, getting the particular formula, there is a formula that is stated. So the coordinate of the line which divides the coordinate of the point which divides the line joining the point x1 y1 and x2 y2 internally in the ratio mn is given by so the formula is given by, of course you can call it s, y, which is the point, and that is given by nx1 plus nx2 all over m plus n, comma, then again ny1 plus my2 all over m plus n. So this is the coordinates of that particular point which divides the line joining the points x1, y1, x2, y2 internally. So the line can be divided internally and the line can also be divided externally. It can be divided internally and it can also be divided externally. So now, let us take an example. Find the coordinates of the point dividing the join of, now example. So take this example clearly. Find the coordinates of the point dividing the join of 1,6, dividing the join of 1,6 and 2,8 in the ratio 1 to 3 internally and externally. So you are going to see how this can be done also externally, not only internally. Now let us look at the solution. Let us look at the solution as we go. Now you should know that from here, let's start the solution from here. Look at the ratio 1 to 3. So that means our m equals to 1 and our n is equal to 3 from what is given. This is the particular. So now using the above formula, we first of all get the x value. So our x equals nx1 plus nx2 all over m plus n, and that will be equal to, what is our n? Our n is 3 times, what is our x1? Of course, this will be x1, y1, x2, y2. So let me write it out here. Our x1 is equal to 1, our y1 is equal to 6, our x2 equals to 2, our y2 equals to 8 from the 2 points given. So our x1 is 1, 3 times 1, of course, plus, you can use bracket to separate. Our m is 1, because our n is 3, this will be 1 times, then what is our x2? Our x2 is 2, 1 times 2, you close the bracket, all over mn. Our m is 1 plus n is 3. So this will now be equal to, of course, this will be 3 plus 3 times 1, 3, 2 times 1, 2, 3 plus 2 all over 4. That will be 5 all over 4. That's the first part. Then to get the y value, when you use this other part, you have your ny1 plus ny2 all over, of course, m plus n. Now you come here, what is our n? Our n is 3, you see it now. 1 to ratio. So this is our m, this is our n as given from the definition. 3, of course, what is y1? Our y1 is 6, 3 times 6, bracket open close, then there's a plus sign here. What is our m? Our m is 1 times. What is our y2? Our y2 is 8, you close the bracket, all over our m will have 1 plus 3. So that will be equal to 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 times 8 is 8, all over 4. That will be equal to 26 all over 4. That will be 13 all over 2. So now the point, this implies that the point x, y will be equal to 5 over 4, which is this first one. And the next one is 13 all over 2. It's as simple as that. So you can see that it has been done. Now, that is the internal division. Now, if we were to be external division, it means that the ratio will change. Permit me to clean this part for the other division. So permit me to clean this part. Permit me to clean this part. What we just did is for the internal division. If we were to pay for external division, of course, we are going to have the ratio. So for external division, the ratio becomes -1 to ratio 3 because it's now external. So for the internal, it was 1 to ratio 3, but when you are now calculating for external, even if you are giving 2 to ratio 4, it will now, for the external, it will now become -2 -4. So now this is the ratio you are going to use for the first ratio. It becomes negative for external. So now if you now want to calculate your x, of course you are still going to use this formula. You are going to have x will now be equal to mx1 plus mx2 all over m plus n. So that will now be equal to, of course, now you can see from here that our m equal to -1, our n is equal to 3. So you come here, you maintain this, you are going to have 3 times 1, of course, plus -1 times 2 all over -1 plus 3. So having that, you are going to have 3 times 1 is 3. 3 minus -1 times -2 all over -1 plus is 2. So you are going to have 1 all over 2. That is what you are going to have there. Then for y, of course, just turning +1 to -1, you are going to have, for the formula is ny1 plus ny2 all over m plus n. So that will be equal to, of course, we have 3 times 6, then of course plus, of course, -1 times 8 all over -1 plus 3. So that will be 3 times 6 is 18, of course, -8, -1 times 8 is -8 all over 2, -1 plus 3 is that, so you have 10 all over 2, that will be equal to 5. So externally, you have it as x, y will now be equal to, for the x value is 1 all over 2, then from the y value is 5. As simple as that. So you can see that this particular part is simple. So you know when to divide a line in a given ratio externally and internally. Internally, the ratio remains intact the way it was given. Then externally, the first part of the ratio becomes a negative sign. That is how it is calculated using the formula. I hope that has gotten to our understanding. So please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, do that quickly as you watch the video. Be patient. We are gradually coming to the end of the part 1 of coordinate geometry. We are gradually coming to the end of it. Please be patient and watch to the end. If peradventure you are tired, you can pause, take a little rest and continue with the video. So now we are looking at another subtopic again, which is very vital in coordinate geometry, which is very important in coordinate geometry. Now we are looking at gradient of a straight line. Gradient of a straight line. So you should understand this. Now, when we talk about the gradient of a straight line is given by y equals mx plus c. mx plus c. So here our m means the gradient, our c means the intercept. Some authors call m also the slope. It is permitted. So now this is the general format of a straight line. C is the intercept, while m is the gradient or the slope. And of course, the two variables there are y and x. Of course, y is the dependent variable, while x is the independent variable. Now, determine from this example, determine the gradient and intercept from the lines below. Now, the first one is if I have 2x plus 3y equals 9. What is the gradient and what is the intercept? Now, this is the general, you must understand this. This is the general format of the straight line. And this particular line, this is also a line. It's also a straight line, but it is not yet written in that particular general format before you can now know what the value of your m is, which is the gradient or the slope, and before you now know what the value of c is, which is the intercept. So the first thing is to put that in the right step. So so now we come here, we now say from here, we now have our 3y equals 9 minus 2x. So we can now say y, because x comes first, you can now say y equals minus 2x plus 9 all over 3. So you can now write this as minus 2x over 3 plus 9 over 3. So this simply means that our y will be equal to minus 2x over 3 plus 3. So this implies that our minus 2 over 3 equals to the gradient. Then, of course, our 3 equals to the intercept. So you can see that. So we have written this in this particular format. It is as simple as that. If I have another example, if I say determine the gradient and the intercept, if I have another example as y equal 2x, let me say y plus 2x plus 7 equal to 0. This is not also in that the format of a straight line. What you need to do is to write it in that particular format, then now determine what the slope, what the gradient and the intercept is. We can simply write this as y equals minus 2x minus 7, bringing this to the right hand side. That is what you are going to have. So from here, it simply means that our m equals to minus 2. M is the coefficient of x. M is the coefficient of x. So coefficient of x here is minus 2. Look at this one. The coefficient of x here is minus 2 over 3. That is our gradient. And that's also our m. You can, let's call it our m. And let's call this one our c, which is that for easier understanding. So our gradient n equals to minus 2. And of course our intercept c will be equal to minus 7. Don't forget to carry the signs along. Intercept minus 7, gradient is minus 2. So it is as simple as that. Now, you should also understand if you are given 2 points, you can use this formula to get the gradient as m equals y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. So take note of this particular formula. It is useful for calculating the gradient when two particular points are given. You know, 2 points will form a line. So you can be given 2 points in x1, y1, x2, y2. Then from there, you'll be able to get. Let me explain that. So let me clean this part as we proceed. Now, from what I wrote here, you can see that, for instance, if you are given, this is a point A and this is a point B. B is having x2, y2, and A is having x1, y1. And this, from this point A to this point B, is a straight line. A straight line can be drawn. And from there, you can get the gradient. If peradventure the straight line equation is not given, you can use this particular formula, because you can see A is having x1, y1, B is also having x2, y2. So you can use this particular formula to get the gradient of this particular straight line. That is what it means. Now, let us take another simple example and then explain what I just told us. Now, find the equation of the line. This one is another example. Find the equation of the line. Find the equation of the line passing through the point, passing through the point 1,6 and minus 3,5. So you have it. You say find the equation of the line passing through these 2 points. I just explained that, but it is good to use this particular equation. Now, the equation of the line passing through 2 points. The equation of the line passing through the 2 points. Passing through the 2 points, you can call the 2 points x1, y1 and x2, y2 is given by the formula, is given by this particular formula below. So it is good you have a better understanding, and this will now be y1, okay, just y minus y1 all over x minus x1 is equal to y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. So it's given by this particular formula. So the equation of the line that passes through 2 points, the 2 points can be likened x1, y1, x2, y2, then is given by this formula. Now, from this particular problem, you will see that from here, from these 2 points, here our x1 equals 6, our x1 equals 1, our y1 equals 6, our x2 equal minus 3, and our y2 equals 5. So you have it as that. Now, using this particular formula, from here, this will now imply that we have y, of course, is different from y1 and is different from y2. So what is our y1? Our y1 is 6, so it will be y minus y1. y1 is 6 minus 6 all over, of course, x is different from x1. What is our x1? Our x1 is 1 minus 1, and is equal to, what is our y2? Our y2 is 5 minus, what is our y1? Our y1 is 6, 5 minus 6 all over. What is our x2? Our x2 is minus 3 minus, what is our x1? Our x1 is 1. 5 minus 6 is minus 1. Minus 3 minus 1 is minus 4. So this simply means that we are having our y minus 6 all over x minus 1 is equal to minus 1. Okay, minus we cancel, minus is 1 all over 4. So this simply means that from here we are going to have, this implies that our 4 into y minus 6 equals 1 into x minus 1. You can see we have that. You open the bracket, 4 times y will be 4y minus 4 times 6, 24, and that will be equal to x times 1 is x minus 1. So having this, I'm able to shift it to this side. You will now see that from here, our 4y will now be equal to x minus 1 plus 24. So that is what you are going to have. And we are looking for the equation. So it simply means we are looking for the equation of the line. So of course the equation of the line, the right hand side, you make the right hand side to be equal to 0. So having that, we are going to have 0 equals x. Of course this 4y goes to the right side, becomes minus 4y. Minus 1 plus 24 is plus 23 plus 23. So this implies that the equation of the line will now be equal to x minus 4y plus 23 is equal to 0. So always put the equation of the line in to be equal to 0. Allow the right hand side to be equal to 0. So that is what we have. So from what we have been given here, let me quickly explain something. Now permit me to clean this part. I hope you have taken a better understanding of this particular part. We are gradually coming to the end of part 1 of coordinate geometry. We are gradually coming to the end. So ensure you have your notes. Take your notes so that when you have your free time, you can go through your notes and have better understanding. So please note, I told us that our gradient m, when you are given 2 points, our gradient m will be given as y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. I told us that, and the equation of the line that was given was the equation of the line that was given was y minus y1 all over x minus x1 equals y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. Now compare this. You can see that the right hand side of this is equation of the line, while this is gradient. So you can see that the right hand side of this equation of the line is equal to the gradient. So by implication, it simply means that our gradient, this right hand side is gradient. It simply means that our gradient n can also be written as y minus y1 all over x minus x1. So if the gradient is this and this is this, that means this and this are equal. So the gradient can also be given as that. So this also, which now implies that we can now write our y minus y1 is now equal to m, which is the gradient, into x minus x1. So it's as simple as that. Now let's take our last example. Find the equation of the line. Find the equation of the line passing through the point, passing through the points 2, 9 with gradient m equals 5. So you can see that. So you have to find the equation of the line. Now, one point is given and the gradient is given. If you are given 2 points, this is the equation you use to calculate the equation of the line. If you are given 1 point and 1 gradient, this is the equation you use. This is the equation you use. So now, from here, the solution is simple. So you now say let x1, y1 equals this particular point that is given 2, 9. So this implies that our x1 equal to 2, our y1 is equal to 9. Remember, our gradient m equals 5 as given from the particular problem. So having this, it is clearly understood that we can now apply this formula. So using this, y minus y1 equals m into x minus x1 implies this will now be y minus what is our y1, y minus 9 equals to what is our m, the gradient given is 5 into x minus what is our x1, 2. So opening the bracket, you have 5 times x will be 5x, 5 times 2 will be minus 10. So you come here, now this will now become, having this, you are going to have y minus 9 is equal to 5x minus 10. And so making this simply means that from here we have our y will be equal to 5x minus 10, of course this minus 9 going to the other side becomes plus 9. So from here we now have y equals 5x minus 10 plus 9 will be minus 1. So this, you can leave it as this. Remember, the equation of a straight line is y equals mx plus c. Now look at it now, it is in this format. Here now, that is the equation we have gotten, the equation of the line. Our m, which is still, our m is 5 here, our c is minus 1, which is in line. So from the question, our m given is 5, which is intact, and you can see that we have been able to get this. Beloved, in our next class, we shall be looking at intersecting lines. And not only that, we are coming up with a coordinate geometry part 2. In coordinate geometry part 2, we shall be looking at intersecting lines. We shall be looking at the angle between two lines, and we shall also be looking at the area of triangle formed by the coordinate of the vertices, and we shall also be looking at collinear points. Where are 2 points or 3 points said to be collinear? I hope you have enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching this video to the end. God bless you on every side. If you are an AI firm and you train your AI models, you want mathematicians, you can consult me. I have experience in that. I've worked with 2 US firms in training their AI models to understand mathematical algorithms better. So you can consult me if you are an AI firm, and also if you are a research institute, you can also consult me with your research work to be part of what your team of mathematicians and the statisticians are doing. For those of you who have subscribed to my YouTube channel, I want to say a very big thank you to you. And for those of you who are yet to subscribe, please do that, and as you do, God will bless you. Don't forget to share my video in your social media platforms. Share them, click on the notification button, and as you do, God will bless you. See you in the next class, Coordinate Geometry Part 2. Have a great day. Bye.